are here in northern Pickens County of the upstate of South Carolina, and we're here going to play a few tunes for you again tonight and sing a few songs. And I'll get my iPad out here in just a minute. And if you would, leave us some comments and tell us where you're from and where you're tuning in from. We're excited to be a part this evening of a program of tunes from the supported by the McKissick Museum in Columbia. We want to thank the South Carolina Commission for the Arts for their support in this evening's performance. The FolkLife Partnership Grant has provided the ability for the McKissick Museum to be able to support folklife artists that are in the Heritage Award winners for the state, as well as those in the South Carolina Arts Commission mentorship apprenticeship program. And I've been teaching in that this year. So definitely want to give a huge thanks, gratitude for those to be able to make this possible this evening. So we'll get started. That last tune that we played was Pruitt's Reel. Jimmy Pruitt was a fiddler here in the upstate over in the Spartanburg area. And we played this last weekend in a live stream that we did. And being that it's has origins in South Carolina, I thought it would be wise to appropriate to go ahead and use it again. So that's the one we started out with. What do you want to go to, Mary?
Red Clay Halo?
Red Clay Halo. I'm going to play guitar on that one. All right. Mary has sung this one for years and years. This is not a traditional tune, but it's heavily influenced by the rural and Appalachian traditions, for sure. So I'm going to jump into this thing so I can see your comments. Hey, there it is. All right. Got Ken Andrews, Ferris Chapel. We got Lily on there, Karen Martinez, Nick Saravia, and Ann Bride, and Dan Johnson, and Gail. My parents, they're here with us again. We got Luna. What are we playing? All right. Yeah, oh, there's my pick. My pick is across the room.
Okay.
All righty.
You want me to kick it off?
I think Mom was doing it.
Alright. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Well, girls all dance with boys from the city, and they don't care to dance with me. Well, it ain't my
That's a good one. I love that one. All right. We got a few more people joining us. What shall we go to next? You want to sing another one? We got some more in G. We could play a banjo number.
Yeah, do that.
You want to do like Dear Old Dixie or
Can we do Dixie Breakdown?
Dixie Breakdown? Yeah.
Alright.
Any weird chords that I should know about?
Just G, C, and D and
Okay. Good job, Molly. Molly, this last year, she went up to, we went up to Galax, Virginia, and the way things are going, I'm not sure that we're going to get back up there this year. They've been canceling festivals. Summertime is a big time for us. We usually go up to fiddlers conventions and bluegrass and old time festivals, and we just kind of hang out and we walk around and listen to people play music. And Galax in Galax, Virginia, is one that we've enjoyed going to, and love going to Elk Creek, Virginia, which is just near Galax, but hadn't made it in the last few years. I think the last one they had a tornado at. And last year, Molly got third place in youth banjo, so you can see she's been working hard at it. So, what else we got to do here? All right, that was Dear Old Dixie. Let's do a fiddle tune.
Okay.
We hadn't done a fiddle tune in a little while. You want to jump up in A? We'll do, what would we got? Wild Rose in the Mountain or something like that?
Sure.
Hey, Linda. This tune comes from a fiddler out in Kentucky by the name of J.P. Fraley, and you know, it's more considered an old time tune. And that's what a lot of stuff that we do, but we're not afraid to throw three finger into the mix. We enjoy the sound of it. Molly does a fantastic job. Are you ready? All right, here we go, Luna. 1, 2, 3. one. It's got that long dwell in there that makes it real nice. The banjo doesn't know when we're going to pick it back up again. All right, what else we got here? We'll do something. We got any songs in there?
Yeah, we got that one. Will the Roses Bloom?
All right, let's do that one. If I think I know where Mary got this one, there's a recording of Ricky Skaggs and Tony Rice, and it is all duets, and it's full of good stuff. So, all right, you ready?
1, 2, 3.
Where she lies sleeping, will the flowers shed their petals there?
Will do.
Drops fall upon the roses where my darling sleeps beneath the sun. Her lips were like a bunch of roses, her eyes shone like a starlit sky. Her hair was dark and it was curly. I'll miss her till I die.
Will the roses
Bloom where she lies sleeping, with the flowers and their petals there.
will do.
Drops fall upon the roses where my darling sleeps beneath the sand. I miss my darling, she's sleeping underneath that beautiful sky. I miss her now since she has left me. I'll miss her till the day I die.
Will the roses
Bloom where she lies sleeping, with flowers and their petals there.
will the dewdrops
Fall upon the roses where my darling sleeps beneath the sun. Where my darling sleeps beneath the sun.
All right, good job, Mary. That's a great little tune. So, what are you thinking?
We still on A? We got anything else? A or D?
A or B? Never grew old?
Sure, yeah.
We're blowing through them tonight. Oh.
We got plenty. Alright.
I'm used to singing the tenor part on choruses, so I don't know any words except for the choruses, but only if the lead guy is singing it. Mr. Chad. All right. You want to kick this one off?
Alright.
I have heard of a on the faraway stream. There's a beautiful home of the soul, built by Jesus on high. that's an old one that we used to sing a lot at a church that we used to attend, and Saluda Hill Baptist Church. It's over here in the northwest corner of South Carolina. But that's from the old 1939 Stamps and Baxter hymn book. Stamps and Baxter was a publisher, and they did a lot of hymn books and material for gospel quartets and that sort of thing. So a lot of the sound that we hear in modern music is going to come from a lot of these old hymns. 1939, I mean that's prime territory for influencing bluegrass and getting a lot of these harmonies in there. A lot of quartet stuff going on, and some interesting harmonies out of Spartanburg back in the 1800s. A fellow by the name of William Walker, he came up with a hymnal, and they used the shape notes, and different hymnals did different things. So they would either use 5 notes of the scale, like they did in the Sacred Heart, or they used 7 notes of the scale, like Christian Harmony. And so that really limited they would only use those notes. They would limit the intervals in the songs, so it would be easier for people to catch on to. They would travel around to different communities, different churches. They'd have a singing school on Saturday or over the weekend, and on Sunday they'd sing these hymns. But they did it, pretty consistently all through many regions here in the South, especially, and taught a lot of people to sing, and taught a lot of people to sing the way that we sing. So that's sort of interesting that a lot of it came out of the Spartanburg area.
Got any interesting comments?
Well, it's time to look over here. They're all being very nice and quiet.
Oh. So, what are we gonna do? What key are we in? A or D? Then do that Old Dangerfield.
Hey, Old Dangerfield. All right. This is a bluegrass number. This is from Bill Monroe, and I liked it because I heard one of my favorite fiddle players, Art Stamper, heard him play it, and so I decided to learn it based off of how he did it. He's an old mountain fiddler, and his dad was a mountain fiddler. His dad's name was Hiram Stamper, and I think they were from the Hazard area of Kentucky. And but Art Stamper knew a lot of tunes. I mean, just tons of tunes. You'll see a lot of fiddlers that really dig into his stuff and are heavily influenced by what he does. This is not one of his mountain tunes, but it's a bluegrass number, and we're going to play it here. Old Dangerfield. All right. I'll tell you what, if you get that one going too fast, your fingers will get tripped up in a hurry.
Yeah.
Oh! All right. Glad to have all of you joining in with us. We're at the half-hour mark. We'll probably go for another 10 or 15 minutes. And all right, so that was A. What else we got here?
I can do two. I'm done with it.
All right.
Just gotta give me time to clean.
Let's do another South Carolina tune. You wanna try Hammond's Grove Waltz on guitar?
Yeah. You just gotta make this. What key?
G. I can't. Sit it over there. This is another South Carolina fiddle tune.
We did this one last week.
Yeah, we did this one last week, but I wanted to replay the South Carolina tunes that we did last week, just for folks to be able to hear them. There's a fiddler down in the Columbia area by the name of Ashley Carter, and he's been recording and meeting and going and visiting South Carolina fiddlers for a long time, and he's recorded these and he's shared them with a lot of folks. And being that these are tunes from South Carolina, I had a particular interest in picking a few of these up. And I'm always, the older I get, the longer it takes me to learn fiddle tunes, and so I don't pick them up quite as fast as I used to. But picked this one up, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I'm not even sure anymore. Just played it for a long time. If you come down to the Illinois Schoolhouse on Friday nights, if you stay late enough, not too late, usually about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, you will usually hear me playing this one. But this one's called Hammett's Grove Waltz, and it's from an area over in the Spartanburg area, I think near Packlet, if I'm not mistaken, called Hammett's Grove. And the fiddler that wrote it, his name was Chris Stapleton. Not the same Chris Stapleton that you might know as the popular songwriter. Ready? That was the Kiss Me Waltz. All right, here we go. All right. I actually tacked on another waltz on the tail end of that one. Added the Kiss Me Waltz. Got that from the playing of Kenny Baker, but it's actually a lot older than him. And there was the you guys might have heard of the Charlie Poole Festival up in, I believe it's up in Eden, North Carolina. And well, Charlie Poole, he had a song, and it was the Kiss Me Waltz, and that's sort of where it entered modern American music or American music. Before that, I believe it was an Italian aria or something like that. So you never know where these tunes are going to come from. Another example of that is, I'm going to play one on banjo here real quick. This is a tune, we'll do it in C. This is a tune called Sweet Marie. And I learned it from a banjo player, two-finger banjo player out of Gray, Tennessee by the name of Will Keys. And Will Keys made a big impression on me because he didn't care what it was. He was going to play it, and if it sounded good. And you might think of, a tune like Sweet Marie, who knows what the origins are for it, but a lot of times tune origins are usually pretty reasonable. And so he told us where he got it from, and he got it from his sister. His sister used to play it on the piano, and he had mentioned that popular movie at the time was I think it was 1947 or something like that, but a movie called Life with Father, and so his sister had the sheet music for it, and he just picked it up on the banjo, and well, here we are playing it based on his banjo playing. But I've heard other old time renditions of it. Not quite the same way that Will Keys played it, but this is as close as I could get to Will Keys' two-finger style using claw hammer. And you want to play claw hammer, or you just want to do three-finger backup chords? Okay. And so that was Sweet Marie. It's been one of my favorite banjo tunes to play for a long time. All right, we got that.
I think it's.
All right, this will be okay.
Okay. G.
You got another one to sing?
What? Great.
Just G for 8-liner blues. You want to try that one?
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't think I take a break on it. Okay.
This is one Mary's been learning here recently, and so we've heard her around the house. That's That's the interesting thing about having a household full of musicians, is that you hear each other's material and you kind of learn it along with them, even if you're trying not to pay attention. But got these guys do a really good job, and they show me up most of the time.
I forgot how it ended.
Josh, somebody wanted to hear our music that you two sang at Folk Fabulous. Sing something.
Oh. What was it? Did an acapella duet.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
I don't remember what it
I
was.
don't even remember. It was a hymn,
I think it was an old one.
but I don't remember what it was. I don't even remember what we sang. How many more can we do?
I don't know, we can do a few more. You want to try and do Farther Along again, just to throw another hymn in there?
Okay. Oh, I
With
don't
some
know
harmony
the
stuff
words.
on it?
I don't have the words.
They're behind that huge tree.
We got some over here. Let me go check.
No.
The
You gotta go back in there.
So no, I'm not gonna do it.
What is that?
I don't know.
Key of D. I wish we could do that one. I can't even remember what the name of it is right now. Oh, goodness. But here's another one that we did last week, and this is one that Mary has grown up singing, and we've sung it together since she was probably 10, 11, 12 years old. This is another one that comes out of the 1939 Stamps and Baxter hymnal. Someone's rattling here.
Tempted and tried, we are made to wonder why it should be left all the day long, while there are others living among us, never molested, though in the wrong. For the
Let's go up to F. We'll do Just a Few Old Memories. This is a Hazel Dickens song. She was a heck of a songwriter. And a lot of people have used her material. But she was just as country as could be. But she wrote real songs. This is, yeah, Brian.
Yeah, I just didn't.
What?
I was doing it.
Oh, okay.
Ready? Oops. Just a few old slipped in through my door, though I thought I had closed it so tightly before. I can't understand why it should bother my mind, for it all belongs to another place and time.
Just a few old keepsakes way back on the shelf. No, they don't mean nothing. I'm surprised that they left.
Just a few old love letters with the edges all round,
And an old faded picture turned upside down.
just a few old memories going way back in time. I can hardly remember. I don't know why I'm crying. I can't understand. Well, I'm surprised at myself. First thing tomorrow morning, clean off that shelf.
Just a few old keepsakes way back on the shelf. No, they don't mean nothing. I'm surprised that they left.
Just a few old love letters with the edges all round,
And an old faded picture turned upside down.
and an old faded picture keep turned upside down.
Nice job, Mary. Oh, this is a, well, we can stop just about any time.
Let's do one more, okay?
Yeah, let's do one more before we stop. But before we play another one, let's see. All these songs are, you know, it's kind of the folk process along the way. People think of traditional tunes and all these things, but you know, how far back does traditional go? And traditional really, I think, has to do with how it's passed on down through time. It's really just classic stuff. And it just depends on how classic it is and how far it goes. And you know, for years and years and decades, in generations. Songs have been passed down by families, and it's exciting for me to be a part of that process, to learn the material, to some of these tunes, my girls have never tried to play with me until today, or earlier in the week, but they've heard it, and it's so there's learning music is sort of a two-step process. One, you have to get it in your head. You can't play it until it's in your head. Once it's in your head, then you can play it. And that's generally the hardest part. When you're not relying on sheet music to tell you the notes, you've got to remember what that song how it goes in your mind, and that's generally the hardest part. We got another one that we can do as far as a fiddle tune or something like that. We got that rhubarb.
Sounds good.
D. This is a Vernon Riddle tune. I introduced this one last week, and Vernon Riddle, he's from the Spartanburg area as well. He had a number of recordings collected by Ashley Carter, and a few of them were published. This is from one of those releases that they did, and I call it a South Carolina tune. It's not really a South Carolina tune. Vernon Riddle, back in the 50s, he was stationed in the Army out in Texas, and as all of you guys probably know, Texas is a pretty big fiddling area, and so I think the way he put it was he enjoyed his Army career there in Texas because he got to go out on weekends and nights, and he got to learn how to play fiddle from all these great fiddle players that are down there. This he attributes to old time Texas fiddle player Eck Robertson, and but Eck never recorded, so there's no real way to prove that it's one of his, but he says it is, so we'll just believe him. This is one called Rhubarb. For joining us this evening, and hope there was a few things that we did that you enjoyed. And but as we're closing out, I just want to give another thanks to the McKissick Museum for the Quarantine music series and Quarantunes music series. Thank you, Molly. And if you would, on May 5th, anytime from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., consider making a gift to the McKissick Museum's Midlands Gives campaign. It's the McKissick Museum's Midland Gives campaign. And that is to all the proceeds given on May 5th from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. They'll go directly to support the traditional artists and musicians who will participate in the Folk Fabulous at the fair 2020. That's an event that goes on at the State Fair down in Columbia, and it's a four-day event, or actually, I'm sorry, 12-day annual folk festival at the South Carolina State Fair. We went last year, and Jane had heard Mary and I singing an a cappella hymn, and I remember the story behind the hymn, but I can't remember the name of it. It was about a preacher who got the fever and thought he was dying.
That's right.
And so he wrote a verse to his wife, his fellow preacher brethren, and to his children, and he lived. So it was a happy ending. And it was published in one of William Walker's books. So we were down there last year, and we had a great time, but there'll be other artists there, so if you would give to the McKissick Museum's Midlands Gives campaign on May 5th. And really appreciate you joining in with us. And go over and see Ella Hennessy. She's on the YAM page right now. So quick, jump over there. I'm sure she's already started. All right, have a good weekend.